Hey, welcome back to Engineers Workshop, day 48 in the Ukrainian crisis. So I don't have a lot of machining content in this video, but I do have a number of things to bring you up to date on. So I think I'm just going to call this a general shop update. Got the auxiliary table back for the Cincinnati #2 cutter grinder from the shop again, and they've passed it back and forth over their grinder 6 or 7 times, flipping it, taking more and a couple thousandths, half thousandths. They got it to a point where they say it's within 2 thousandths, but they cannot get it any better. So I'm going to put it on the granite table. We'll run a tense indicator over it and we'll see how good it is, if it's flat along the bottom. And until I find somebody with a bigger, better grinder, I'm going to have to live with that the way it is. But as long as I know what the top surface is relative to the bottom, I think I can work with it and get the gibs shimmed up to where the table is, the main table, the rolling table is level on the grinder. So I got that. I got a wrench. Let's see, it's called a quill lock wrench, made from an interesting online source called Send Cut Send, and based on a design that I did for making it myself. But this thing was so ridiculously cheap that I went ahead and I had the online source laser cut it out of 1/2-inch aluminum. So I'll show you that. And but first, I think most interesting thing is my son did end up getting a Jeep, and he got a 1946 Willys, and it's an early 46. We'll go into why they call this an early 46 Jeep. So you'll enjoy seeing a walk around of that. But first, I think I'll make you watch just finishing up on the Acra Turn motor pivot bracket and cleaning up around that area. The motor is absolutely disgusting. I have to clean that with kerosene. It's a combination of cutting oil, dust, and chips. So I'm going to get that cleaned up before I put the motor back in place. So let's get right onto that, and then we'll follow up with I'll just intersperse the update items in the video as I feel like it. So over to let's get over to the motor bracket first. Dee Dee out in Walla Walla, Washington says that kerosene is one of the best things to use on painted surfaces to just give it a good shine before you do the video, or if you're cleaning it up, just doing light cleanup on a machine. I know it's a pretty good solvent as well. And I'll tell you what, it does seem to do a nice job removing reasonable amounts of grease and sludge. This area back here has, I'm sure, never been cleaned, because once the motor's in this vicinity, you just can't get at any of these surfaces. Reasonably clean. Bracket actually goes on opposite of the way I thought. Once I do some cleaning on this nasty motor, we'll get that mounted up. Time to clean the motor of the Acraturn. I'm going to use kerosene, a lot of chips, a lot of dirt. I've got a tub here to catch all the overflow. So let's just use as much as is necessary to get this thing reasonably clean. And a lot of this is going to be pollen, because it's that season here in Virginia, and it gets just everything nasty and yellow. Stuff is very gummy. Got to get something a little bit more aggressive. To check the belt length I need on this, I'm going to use a sewing tape. Probably a 29-inch would be best. Even though this measured out at about 29 inches, I went ahead and I got two different sizes. Got a 29 and a 30. I'm going to try the 30 first. And 30 is way too loose. It looks like 29 is going to be too loose as well. I'd have been better with a 28. I bought both a 28 and a 27-inch belt because I'm not exactly sure what this length is after mismeasuring it. I'm going to try the 28-inch first. Just end up returning everything I don't need. That'll work, but it's getting kind of close to the frame down here, so maybe 27 is the magic number. '27 is probably a better bet to allow for stretch. See if I can get it to go onto the smaller pulley. There it is, 27. Now I just need to get a second one of those. One of the projects I had in mind for the K&T was to make a spanner wrench or a hook wrench for tightening the quill lock. This was something that I didn't come with the machine, so I had been using just a hook wrench that I had found in an antique store that was not the right radius here. It did hook the quill lock nut, but it wasn't an exact fit. So I laid this one out based on the diameter, and since it was such a simple 2D part with basically all just circular features, it was an ideal part for the K&T. And I was going to go ahead and make two of them, just laid out on a grid, two different locations, and one for me, one for the guy that helped me with getting the coolant and the air pump for the machine. That was until I found this place. My son found it on the internet, Send Cut Send. You just upload a DXF file and they give you an instant quote in just about any material that you want. There's a list of their materials, a lot of different metals, aluminum, steel, stainless steel, composites, plastics. They'll only go up to a 1/2 inch, and you have to get 50-52 aluminum for 1/2 inch thick parts, but they will do like 3/8 thick mild steel. Got a nice sticker they sent with it, so that's going to go up on the sticker board. So I uploaded the DXF image of the outline of the spanner wrench. I downsized the 2 registration holes a bit so that I could make those more precise on the K&T, and I got a quote, 15 bucks a piece, $15.64. So, you know, for 31 bucks, I have my 2 wrenches. It would have taken me at least a day to set up the fixture and to walk all those radii and to mill those 2 parts. So this is one of those cases where I just said, I'm gonna buy the part and instead of making them. Now, you're gonna say, what fun is that? Well, the part came packaged, shrink wrapped in between 2 pieces of cardboard, and they're just absolutely beautiful. Now, since I made the 2 registration holes slightly undersized, I can put these on the K&T, take an end mill down through them on those exact centers, and I could use my fixture to put the radius features along the outer edges of this, which I have on my drawing. So I can still have some fun with this, but the basic parts are done and I could start using them. So let's see how these things fit. Not sure if these were laser cut or water jet. If they're water jet, they're pretty precision. Let's take them over to the K&T and see how it nests in. This should be a pretty nice fit into the quill lock. Pretty nice fit. Putting the round over on the edges of the handle sure will make it easier on the hands, but I'm pretty pleased with the way that came out. So this is the auxiliary table for the Cincinnati tool and cutter grinder, and it's been reground, so this rework was at no charge. And if I zero it there, I don't know if you can see this indicator, but I've got about 1 thou and 8/10 rise, and then a 1/2 thou rise at that end. So between the center, or let's say from that point to about here, I'm within 1/1000th of flat. And the better part of that is I don't get any deflection when I press on it, so the bottom is flat. I think I was reaching, or the shop was reaching the limits of how their magnetic chuck was ground, and you know, this may not get any better unless he were to have redressed his magnetic chuck. So we'll live with this. I'll put it back on. Actually, if I press on this end, I get a little bit of deflection there, so some of that is in a little bit of a cup on this one end. Not much of anything at that end. Well, at this point it is what it is, and it's going back on the machine so that I could start to improve the accuracy of the V-ways. Maybe somebody can explain to me how a 27-inch belt, so that's an A27, measures almost 30 inches around. I thought they were just a direct corresponding to their number on the packaging. So the lathe is at a point where it will spin. Got the 8-inch chuck on here. This is a leader pin. Not planning on turning this, I just wanted something to indicate against. This chuck has about 0.004 run out, which I don't like, but good enough to power up. So here we go, first time running. There we go. So that's compound or cross feed. RPM, and that's 45 RPM, its lowest speed. Getting Brennan's 46 Willys Jeep with the aid of a little bobcat to provide motive power. Oh yeah. When we put his Spitfire up on this, it barely fit in between the rails. It was almost falling into the crack. Yeah.
Got that trucking gear with them.
He parked it, I don't know.
Watching on these ramps back here.
We can get it by hand from now. Keep coming. Brennan, tell me about your 1946 Willys Jeep.
Yeah, it's a 46 CJ-2A. I think it's considered an early 2A because the serial number's 21,112, depending on who you ask. The early 2As go up to like 30,000 or so. That's kind of before they finalized like all the parts and pieces that made up a 2A.
And it has some of the known indicators that it's early because of the column shift.
Yeah, it's got the column shift. That's pretty uncommon. I don't know if they did that at all outside 46. And pretty sure only the early ones had that.
And
it's
so
something they ditched pretty early on.
And so, okay, so column shift and your two levers on the floor are
Transfer case.
Okay, low, high, and
4-wheel, 2-wheel.
4-wheel, 2-wheel. So you don't have to lock hubs.
It does have locking hubs in the front, standard. That just like disconnects and connects it from the front axle, so it's not like spinning the ring and pinion all the time.
Okay.
It was kind of a gimmicky thing. It's supposed to prevent wear when you're on the road.
And one of the things we determined was that the wheels are not correct.
Yeah, those are, they might be off a later military style Jeep. They all have the same bolt pattern, so you can just kind of put whatever on there. I could take the wheels off my Geo Tracker and stick them on if I wanted.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't know if the offset's right. The offset's wrong on these, so they hit the frame before you can steer that far.
Yeah, we were putting this thing into the stall in the pole barn, and I mean you don't have much clearance in there. So you got two wheels that you know of?
There's two on Facebook Marketplace that I might have sent to me. They're 16 by 4.5. Some skinny ass little tires.
Yeah. And what are you going to do with this linkage up front?
Yeah, so you can see it's got a separate link to either wheel. So it's got this like pivot point in the middle, and when your suspension moves, like you hit a bump on the road, it changes your toe end. It flaps around. So a lot of people just make one bar that connects both of them, and then like a rod off the knuckle to the like one side or something.
Okay.
So they're fastened together.
Is the steering damper stock?
I don't know.
And what you said something about the headlights for the military ones were different?
Yeah, some of the like real early CJ-2As had this too. The lights were like recessed behind the grille, so you could put this little canvas hood over them, and they wouldn't glint like during an air raid.
Uh-huh. And the ones below it are marker lights or your turn signal lights?
Yeah, or I think they're marker lights, but those are kind of recessed also. That's something that the early 2As had.
And the scallops in the body?
Yeah, the military ones had a shovel and axe there. They needed that little clearance. I might go ahead and stick two of them back on there because that's a nice little thing to have.
Well, yeah, you always got to have an axe and a shovel if you're off-roading. You never know what you have to cut down a tree.
Yeah, and I'd like to use this out in the woods for ripping out invasive bushes and stuff, so it'd be a good thing to have.
Neat project. And the windshield wipers are electric or a combination of electric and vacuum or what?
They're vacuum.
They're vacuum.
Got this little tube.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sure, that's full of mud and rust.
Okay. Pretty neat. And the top is a aftermarket non-Jeep accessory.
Yeah, I think Sears made some of them. Koenig might have made others. It's the same company that made the winch I got. So I got it's a Koenig 150, or no, this is a 100 winch. That's off a CJ-5, like 1960 or so. It's not really correct for this year, but it'll fit in there.
But it's a PTO driven, and then this is the PTO.
Yeah, and that's most of the reason I got this, because it's a dual output PTO. So you've got front and rear selector. The front gets sent out there via chain drive in here, and that's the rear one. And engage, disengage. That's feels like it needs some work.
Yeah, and the two little half shafts for sending power. And then you got the front bumper with that mount, right?
Right, but I think I'm just going to fabricate my own mounts to go with the 2A bumper. Because if I can get a hold of the proper winch, I'd rather have that. It's lower profile. And I'll have a better chance selling the winch if it comes with that bumper.
Okay. Well, look for this project to be interspersed in with I'm sure this will be a source of machining projects for the shop for the next couple years, I would imagine. Neat vehicle. Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little mishmash of updates on the projects. Got the Acraturn spinning at high speed in the background there, trying to get it to warm up a little bit, get the new gears run in. Just try to run it when I'm over here, and as I'm cleaning up other things at the tailstock end of the lathe, I can let it spin and get things quieted down. But hey, very happy to get this project near completion. I got to try to scrounge together some tools that may fit that tool post, and maybe next time we'll do some first chips video for the Acraturn lathe. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Engineers Workshop. As always, stay safe and pray for our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. Take care.